Do you ever feel like you're in like a Twilight Zone episode? That's the way today has been for me. It started out with me being like awakened early and going, you need to get to this scene where this fire is. And it just has not slowed down since. And speaking of kind of Twilight Zone, tonight we're talking about the case of the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who's a 14-year-old Lake Elsinore girl whose dismembered body and badly decomposing body was found in the trunk of the Tesla registered to David Burke, who goes by D4vd's singer. Has been arrested for a murder. We're talking about that today. But we're gonna get into this is different for my channel. We don't do this very often because I like to say we like to get into the nitty gritty. We like to cut past the fluff and sensationalism, and we're not doing that tonight. We're going straight for the fluff. We our sights are set. They are targeted right on the fluff. We're like the X-wing fighter going down a tunnel of fluff, looking for a vent about the size of a womp rat, a fluffy vent. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that today. It feels okay. I mean, it feels Twilight Zone-y for sure, but it feels okay. It's a Friday. There's not a lot going on in the news cycle. Well, we've got some headlines for sure that we're definitely going to get to. What else are we going to get to, Gavin? Let's see. We're going to talk about Celeste's case. We're going to get into some video clips that have been talked about online. We've got 3 terrific questions that we're going to get to. We've got headlines in the Nancy Guthrie case, the Alex Murdaugh case, the Suzanne Simpson case, the Luigi Mangione case. And yes, we have some good news to get to as well. Though, Wanda, I don't think that you had time for your composition to get us like a good news composition, right? Is that something that maybe you'll do over the weekend? Okay, Wanda is going to do that over the weekend, everybody. But nevertheless, even without the jingle, we're going to get into some good news. So what do we have? We got 10 gallons of show. 10 gallons of content we need to put into a 5-gallon show. That's what we need to do. Stick with. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. I feel like, what should I say? I normally have this line where I'm like, if you're into true crime, you like to cut past the fluff and sensationalism, you found the right place. And that is true most of the time. Okay, it's true most of the time. But here's the other thing that I was thinking about. Sometimes you do have to kind of get into the weeds to find the clues. And of course, let's bring up Celeste's photo here. We're talking about such a sad story. This girl was lured away, according to prosecutors, lured away from the safety of her home, where she was essayed for a year, at least, say prosecutors, by this guy, man named David Burke, who goes by the stage name David, spelled D4vd, D4vd. I like to call him. Shout out to Pascal for that. For over a year, she was in what prosecutors call, but we know it's not, a sexual relationship with this guy. Started when she was 13 years old, according to prosecutors. Okay? And then, unceremoniously, unlovingly, she was stabbed to death, cut up into pieces, and put into a body bag that was ordered on Amazon, and then another bag another black, probably plastic bag, where she decomposed badly and finally was found because of the stench coming out of the car after it had been towed by the LAPD. Listen, if this is your first time here, actually, if this is your umpteenth time here, I like to know where you're tuning in from, so put GF in your comment. Anytime you want me to see a comment, put GF in it. It highlights it on my end. It makes it way easier on me, so thank you for that. And tell me where you're tuning in from. I want to know. And while we're we're sidetracked right now, sidetracked on something important, there's something else that's important that I want to tell you about, and that is that we are giving away in partnership with a veteran-owned small business called Fan of Them, this Omega Speedmaster. I love this watch so much, guys. I really wish that I were the one that could win it. Of course, I am not eligible. But if you go to fanofthem.com/Gavin Fish or click the link in the description, you buy a limited edition collectible or a digital download, and that not only gives you some cool merch, but gives you a chance to win this Speedmaster, and it supports my channel. So you can genuinely support me and the growth of my channel by entering to win. Click on the link in the description or go to fanofthem.com/Gavin Fish. Enter to win. And best of luck. I hope you win. I wish that I would win, but I hope you win. And then one other thing that I do want to bring up, okay? Whenever we talk about this case, because we're talking about terrible, terrible crime against a young girl, YouTube tends to demonetize. So I have put a goal in this live stream, if you're on YouTube, and shout out to those of you who are on the rewatch crew, those of you who are watching on Spotify or listening wherever you get podcasts. But on the live stream, I have put a goal of 10 super chats because I know that this is going to be demonetized. And I think I see Mooney. I think I see Mooney leading the way with a super chat where she says, "Fluff away, dear Gavin, fluff away." I shall, Mooney, with your permission. Ooh, I see that you have changed your handle to the only Mooney. There is just one. There's only one Mooney. And Mooney, I feel your love bomb from all the way in Virginia. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. We got Adavan in the 216. We've got Ohio. We've got Bronx, New York here. We've got Clarksville, Tennessee, where one takes the last train. Land of the Baseball Hall of Fame is here. Cooperstown. I have visited your fair town with my father, my mother, my wife, my sister, my brother-in-law. We did that just a few years ago. It was a dream of my dad's, and it was terrific to be there. Charlotte, North Carolina in the house. The city in Utah with 2 national parks and 2 state parks. Are you down in the Moab area? I don't know. Greenville, South Carolina is here. Northwest Kentucky, Montana, North Dakota, Michigan, Massachusetts. Goodness, so many people here. Ontario, Ormond Beach, Florida, Northwest Georgia. Let's see, and it's a COSC2. It is. Okay, Northern Kentucky is here. Capital of the free state of Florida. You guys are awesome. And Angela hosts 2858 with the super chat coming in. Thank you for all you guys do from Kokomo, Indiana. Glad you are here, and thank you so much for your support. Okay, this is what we are gonna do. Okay, I have this video. I'm lifting it thanks to laws that allow me to do that. Why am I blank? I do that sometimes. I just completely blank fair use laws because we are going to comment on it and maybe critique it a little bit. And I'm not going to critique Nancy. Nancy's somebody I like. I've been on her show a couple times. Been on her podcast. I think she's terrific. She does some good work on behalf of victims. So I'm not going to critique Nancy, but we have this video. I have lowered the sound down to 6 dB down to try to match the audio that I speak at when I'm not yelling because I get all excited. But just fair warning, if you got earbuds on or something, you might want to just be very careful because this is kind of a hot audio, though I did bring it back. Anyway, there are two different clips we're going to talk about, okay? The first clip is what some people online are calling a confession. It is, I'm going to set this up, okay? A bunch of people hanging out at D4vd's house. Seems like, I don't know, the kids get together these days. It's very different from when I was a kid, right? When we would get together to jump on a trampoline or swim in a swimming pool. Or, let's be honest, Nintendo, right? We played a bit of Nintendo, some computer games on the old Commodore 64. Yes, I am that old. Actually, before that, the Commodore VIC-20, I remember. Anywho, it seems that young kids these days get together and live stream. They Twitch, they live stream. And what is happening in this clip is a couple of young females. I don't know how old they are. They could be 18, they could be 28. I'm a bad judge. I have no idea. Are live streaming like makeup or something in the bathroom at D4vd's house, and you can hear what's going on in the background. Now, Nancy Grace's team put up some, you know, what do we, am I just having a hard day? Am I just having a hard day? My mind is not working. Some subtitles. Dang it. I'm having language issues today. You know what the problem is? And this is a terrible excuse, and it's a bit of a tangent, but you know what my problem is? I've been chatting with my friends in Argentina, and my mind right now is working in Spanish and hasn't quite made the flip back to regular English mode. Back in the day when I was a young man and I was traveling and, I was working down there, my mind could flip back and forth so easily, but I'm not so elastic these days. So maybe that's my issue. I need to get into the groove. Get into the groove. Okay. So subtitles are going to be up on here, and she's going to show us what she thinks is said in the background. You're going to have to she's going to play it multiple times. You're going to have to listen closely. I think I do agree with what the subtitles say, but it's tough. Okay? So let's, without further ado, Gavin, you're just chit-chatting away. Let me bring up the right spot here. Okay. We read. Oh, and the second clip, actually, we'll get to the second clip when we get to the second clip. Here we go.
Okay. It's kind of giving Harley Quinn. Okay. Aw, cute. I like it. And then, wait, we do this.
Okay, I wanna back that up. Basically, in the background, you're hearing "Tell me about Celeste." You hear an OS bomb. Something about "You killed her." Then, yeah, me and David. Something like that. So we're gonna listen one more time, and I will do my best not to start it over multiple times because Nancy Grace is going to do that for us. Okay, here we go again. Have a quick listen.
Okay. It's kind of giving Harley Quinn. Okay. Aw, cute. I like it. And then, wait, we do this. Stickers.
Stalkers. Oh. No.
Okay, so what happened there, according to the subtitles that Nancy Grace's team did, was they're live streaming with their fancy little, I don't know, little stickers they're putting on their face, whatever the kids do these days. And in the other room, they're going, hey, tell me about Celeste. You killed her? Yeah, me and David. Oh, hey, they're in the bathroom. They can hear this all. Oh, my goodness gracious me. This is not good. Right? So they're live streaming on Twitch, and in another room where you can hear them, they're talking about, I guess, allegedly. I'm not sure that I'm not sure. I think that the subtitles are probably pretty accurate, but here we go. I'll continue the video.
Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA now.
Where's the body glitter from Claire?
So for those of you listening, that body glitter stuff is the people who are actually streaming on Twitch.
Bro, body glitter from Claire's is crazy.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
Just Scott Morgan, maybe that is some of the evidence. I mean, if I can find it, the prosecutor can find it. Did you hear what was said? Now, it's in the background. You have to listen very carefully. I'm going to play for you the pertinent part. Listen.
And by the way, Joseph Scott Morgan's rad, is he not? He's been on the channel here a couple times. He's a frequent guest of Nancy Grace.
It's kind of giving.
Tell me more about Celeste, you hear in the background. O-S, you hear in the background.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
And then, yeah, you killed her, they say you hear in the background. I think that is what you hear. Yeah, me and David, you hear in the background.
And then, wait, what is this?
You want to tell me those girls cannot hear what's being said through that open door, just on the other side of that very thin wall? And you see the one girl in front of the mirror pause and listen. What was just said by witness one, which is a female, I think I know who she is. The female says, tell me more about Celeste. Then you hear the woman say, yeah, you killed her. And then you hear witness two state, yeah, me and David. They're so casual. And the other girls are just talking about finding their body glitter.
Yeah, so I'm going to pause this here for just 1 second. We'll listen to what Joseph says, but if they're talking nonchalantly about a girl that was killed by David and another person, the first thing we learn there is that another person was involved, but secondly, they all knew. And if they all knew that Celeste was killed by David and another, sounded like another man, why are they not running out of the Hollywood Hills? I was going to say running for the hills, but they're in the hills, maybe running out of the hills. Do not stick around. Danger. Boop, boop, boop. Danger, danger, danger. All right, let's continue to see what Nancy and Joseph have to say.
To listen to the long form one more time because a speaker is identified by name. Joe Scott Morgan, listen.
Okay, before we listen to that part, guys, this is a fluffy live stream. I admit it. Total fluff. But Mooney gave me permission to moon away, or to fluff away. Not moon away. We don't want that. To fluff away. So, actually, I'm not sure that we want fluffing either. I'm such a naive guy. I didn't even think about that. Anywho, dang it. Now, what I'm really hoping that you guys do is tell me what you think they're actually talking about in the live chat. Maybe you agree with Nancy Grace. Maybe you agree with me because I agree with Nancy Grace. But maybe it's something completely just having nothing to do with it. All right, here we go.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Tell me more about Celeste. O-S.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, you killed her.
I like it.
And
Yeah,
then,
me and
wait, what is
David.
this? Stickers.
Stalkers. Oh.
Doesn't know.
They're realizing realizing now that, oh, they're in the bathroom. Hey, don't look at me. Right? And then they're asking, what does she look like? I'm very close to her. Just give him a second, says another witness.
Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA'd out.
Where's the body glitter from Claire's?
Bro, body glitter from Claire's is crazy.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
It actually makes me. Do we know that this is in David's house? That's the way it's described. But do we know that? I'd love to hear your comments on that. Anybody who's been down the Reddit rabbit hole on this one, let me know.
I feel sick. I feel sick because I believe the prosecutors will be able to show that is David Anthony Burke, D4vd's home. And in that home, Celeste was murdered. And they're all talking about body glitter, and they can hear what's being said. Joe Scott, analyze. You hear the female state. Tell me more about Celeste. Oh, the woman, yeah, you killed her. And then someone says, yeah, me and David. And then, listen, you hear who? They're all in the bathroom. In other words, they can hear us, idiot. And the girl says, don't look at me. Then they go on, and the woman is saying, well, what does she look like? Am I close to her? Talking about Celeste. What did Celeste look like? I'm very close to her. In other words, do I look like her? And you hear the other male say, give him a second. And the woman says, you don't know what she looked like? It's past tense. What she looked like. What? Are they that arrogant? They think I can't find that online,
I don't know that they're that arrogant. I think they're that stupid.
much less the prosecutors. I want you, Joe Scott Morgan. You're the death investigator. While they're all laughing and looking for their body glitter, where's Celeste?
Decomposing there at that residence. I can tell you what she looked like. I can tell you what she looked like relative to their current, their present at that moment in time. And yeah, they did use past tense, but let's understand her mortal remains are just on the other side of those walls, Nancy. Let that sink in just for a second. She's in an advanced state of decomposition. She's been packaged. The child has been packaged after having been rendered down. She's in multiple elements, Nancy, and not all of them are solid. The ME actually talked about liquefaction of remains. That's what she looked like. And
You know what I love about Joseph? I love a lot about Joseph. Number one, he married up. His wife is awesome. Okay. We both married Kimberly's, which is kind of fun. And they're both amazing women. But what I love about Joseph Scott Morgan is his empathy, his sympathy. He's like, yeah, I can tell you exactly what she looked like. And they were right there. And you can't tell me they didn't smell that. You can't tell me they didn't see flies, stuff like that, right? He's just so empathetic and so sympathetic. He's so good.
I think that people need to strap in and understand that it's not just the principal that's been named, that's been charged in this case. It's all the circle that surrounds this individual that is inside of that domicile. You're going to tell me that no one smelled anything? You're going to tell me that no one saw flies? That they're just going on about their business as if it's another day? It is absolutely positively disgusting, Nancy. Yeah, I can tell you what she looked like.
You mentioned once it's like they are dancing on her grave and her coffin, so to speak, from our friends at Fox 11 is David Anthony Burke, a.k.a. D4vd's Tesla. We just showed you the video.
It's D4vda, Nancy. It's not D4vd. It's D4vda, okay?
Shot where her body had been discovered due to the stench of human decomposition.
Nancy,
So this is the second part of the video that I wanted to get into, which we will get into here in just a second. But before we do, I want to see what you guys are saying over in the over in the chat. Let me get it all refreshified here. Let's see. I want to make sure that I don't miss anybody. We've got somebody from in Indianapolis. Glad that you are here. Thank you very much for being here. Anaheim is in the house. Old Orchard Beach, Maine is here. Ooh, we got somebody from Taiwan. I spent plenty of time there I've only spent time in Taipei. Pretty cool. Oregon Trail. Yeah, that's right. We played Oregon Trail for show. Let's see. Boston, Georgia is here. And Kelly Alexander saying, thank you for speaking slowly. Well, I speak at my pace. It probably is pretty slow. And I'm happy to do it. Scotch's mom, is your mind on the weekend? Yeah, my weekend's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward. I've got plans. I've got photography plans with my son, which I'm really looking forward to. Keep on going here. Italia says, I don't hear killed her. I hear together. You hear together. Did you together? We're going to go back and listen one more time, okay? Let's go back and listen just real quick. Let's see, I need to remember we're at about 6:21. We're going to go back.
Okay. It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Aw, cute. I like it.
I don't know.
And then, wait, what is this?
I have to not look at the screen.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
I hear killed her. I hear killed her. That's what I hear. But you know what? If you hear together, that's totally cool as well. I'm Goddess 1950 says lively here in Erie today. Over 75. Okay, good. Hope ate fear. I agree, Gavin. Let's see. And Debbie says, don't forget there's two girls named Celeste. The minor Celeste is going to get a tattoo like the other older one, so the matched more from behind. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. Debbie saying, these young people don't care. They have no respect for life. That's what it feels like to me. Plantation, Florida is here. Debbie says, wasn't the blue pool found in the garage too? It was, according to the document that was filed in court by the prosecution. Robin says, sometimes people act nonchalant in the moment where it's most dangerous and later fall apart. I think that's fair. That's fair. Let's bring up a photo of Celeste while we're having it. This one. Glitters Forever says, can we slow it down a tiny bit to see if we understand better? What a great idea. Let's see. I've got it in QuickTime, so I think that I can go to, let's see, playback speed half. All right, we're gonna. Hold on.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, you did.
I like it.
David, I wish I could slow it down
Wait,
just a little bit there. The way I've got it set up for today, I can only do it at half speed or regular speed or faster. Sorry, Glitter is Forever. I wish I could do that better. Lulu Marie says, I believe the girl they are talking to is named Celeste also. I think you're right. And then I did see a couple of comments, though I've lost them now, that happened in the moment that, yeah, they are definitely in David's house, right? Definitely in David's house. So, I don't know, guys. Is it something that I love what Joe Scott Morgan was saying, right? That, I know exactly what she looks like. She's decomposed, right? And she's in that house, and you can't tell me that They couldn't smell anything, that they didn't see flies. And that whole thing where the video shows David going, hey, sorry about the smell, guys. I knocked a Duke a couple hours ago. Yeah, that's a different smell. We don't need to really get into the details of what is in each bouquet, but that's a different smell. Okay, let's go to the second clip here. This is from the same show, same Nancy Grace. Let's see, I need to bring that. There we go. Make it a little bit more like that. Close anyway. Okay, here we go.
Nancy, when we looked at this story and wondered, when is this going to come out, that Celeste Rivas' best friend said that in January, about 12 weeks before Celeste was murdered, Celeste was at her parents' home, and her best friend is sitting there trying to talk her out of running away because Celeste wanted to run away to David. Now, the friend thought she was talking about a classmate. She wasn't, but Celeste gave her the reason. Thought she was pregnant. Celeste tells her best friend.
Now, remember, the medical examiner originally said no to the pregnancy and then updated the death certificate to say undetermined, right? And I know that there has been discussion for months about whether or not Celeste was pregnant. I've seen it all over Reddit. I have not really jumped down that rabbit hole, but this is Mr. Mack here is a reporter. I'm going to go back. Let's go to the very beginning of what he was saying. This is Dave Mack, an investigative reporter that works for Crime Online, which is Nancy's company. Okay, let's listen from the beginning.
See, when we looked at this story and wondered, when is this going to come out, that Celeste Rivas' best friend said that in January, about 12 weeks before Celeste was murdered, Celeste was at her parents' home, and her best friend is sitting there trying to talk her out of running away because Celeste wanted to run away to David. Now, the friend thought she was talking about a classmate. She wasn't, but Celeste gave her the reason. Thought she was pregnant. Celeste tells her best friend, I'm pregnant and I'm going to run away to David's.
I love these little pictures of her, by the way, the little like school pictures from when she was younger. It just kind of shows her sassiness and her spunk.
It is the shocking motive we've been waiting for.
Okay, right there. Of course, Randolph Rice, you're the veteran trial lawyer. The state doesn't have to prove motive at all, but practically speaking, we know the jury will want a motive. I want to hear, okay, how you're going to spin that out in court. Because first, there are claims, the video.
I should set this up a little bit. This guy is a defense attorney who apparently changed his story between the time that they booked him and the time that he came on. And so Nancy's going at him hard, kind of like a prosecutor, going, I'd want to know how you're going to spin this one as a defense attorney. That's why she kind of has that attitude. Plus, Nancy's shtick is kind of one, like, tough attitude anyway, right?
Showed was artificial intelligence. It wasn't real. Then when you rethought it, you came up with a much better idea. Now it is real, and you can fabricate, create, argue that some other dude did it defense based on that video. But what are you going to do with Celeste pregnant?
Okay, so yeah, I cut this part out, but when he came on, she goes, now I know you're going to have some sort of argument as to, whether this is real or not. And he's like, no, this is perfect for a defense attorney. Some other guy just admitted to killing Celeste, right? So, I mean, I'm sure the D4vd's defense attorneys would do the same thing if this comes up in discovery and in trial and everything. Like, this guy just said he did it. My client wasn't anywhere near it, but he said he did it. He said he did it with my client. That part's a lie, but the first part is the truth. So that's what Nancy's talking about. He was going to come on to talk about AI and then changed his story. And she's like, okay, so what else can you come up with to defend this guy if you're the lawyer?
I still think we need to get the DNA back and we need to match that up to see who exactly is the baby, who is the father. Because, Nancy, the father may be this alternative killer, this person's voice we hear in the background who says, I did it. Maybe he's the father.
Okay, you really are amazing. See, you threw a curveball at me right there, Randolph Rice, because I thought you were going to say, what baby? Nobody can prove she was pregnant. But instead, you're like a dog with a bone and you're running with it. Yes, she is pregnant, but it's somebody else's baby and they killed her. Okay, I don't believe any of it, but I have to admire your thinking, kind of like a fox.
I actually really I like that part of the discussion, right? I thought you were going to say there is no pregnancy. The ME said no pregnancy, but you threw a curveball at me, man. You were totally leaned into it. And this is actually the way a defense attorney should work, right? That how many filings have we seen where they, an attorney will say, okay, arguing about whatever, right? The first part of our argument is this, but if this part fails, then we've got this argument too. And if that part fails, then I want you to consider this, right? It's a very trained attorney behavior, right? So she's like, I gotta admire it. I don't believe any of it, but I gotta admire it. It's pretty funny. So he's like, yeah, if there's a baby, we got to get the DNA on that and see who the father is, because the father is likely the killer.
Joe Scott Morgan, help me out here. Joseph Scott Morgan is a professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University. He is the author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon. He's the star of a hit podcast, Body Bags, with Joseph Scott Morgan. But for our purposes, he is a death investigator. In fact, that's how I first met him in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. He was working with the Medical Examiner's Office with 10,000 plus death scenes under his belt. Why don't I know whether Celeste was pregnant or not?
Well, because the ME actually in their report stated that there was no evidence of pregnancy. And then they had to go back and amend it. And at which point in time they said it's undetermined, essentially, or indeterminate is what it comes down to. I can tell you this, according to the findings that they had at autopsy, they didn't show, and I'm talking about the physical findings, they didn't show any evidence that she was in fact pregnant. We cannot exclude, though, however, if she had had a pregnancy that at some point in time had been terminated at some point in time, either through, I don't know, morning after pill, or we're talking about some kind of terminal event where she goes and has a child aborted. So that's difficult to understand. And what even complicates matters even more, Nancy, is the fact that she is in such an advanced state of decomposition. This is a very difficult road to go down. We do know, however, that they didn't find anything that would indicate she was pregnant at the time.
I think that's where I stopped it. So I want to know your opinion on this as well. Do we think that Celeste was pregnant? I personally think that the prosecution's office is going to argue that she was pregnant. There was no need, in my opinion, there was no need to include that in the document that they filed, stating what it was that they were going to show during the probable cause hearing, during the preliminary hearing, right? There was no reason in order to get over the hurdle of probable cause to state that they had talked about pregnancy. I don't think that was necessary. Because they put it into that document, I think that's something that they intend to prove, that Celeste was pregnant, that, or at least she thought she was pregnant, and that went to D4vd's motive. And remember, Nancy Grace, she is absolutely correct, and of course she is correct. She's a talented lawyer, right? Prosecution does not ever have to prove a motive, ever. It's never part of the deal. Any of the components of murder, or none of the components of murder include motive. However, Juries love motive. They want to know why. Why do juries want to know why? Because we're human. We all want to know why. And if you can explain why and you can prove why, that goes a long way to getting a conviction. So I think that's what they're up to. And if the prosecution can prove that, because listen, if Celeste Rivas was in, and I'm sorry to talk about it in such a coarse way, because this is a 13, 14-year-old girl who suffered abuse over the course of at least a year by a grown adult man. And we need to remember that, right? We need to temper our speculation with humanity, with compassion. We want to be compassionate not only toward Celeste and her memory, but also to her family. That includes her parents, her grandparents, her cousins, all of her little friends. Listen, I remember what it felt like to lose a friend to death at the age of 14. And in my case, it wasn't murder. It was something that was more expected, right? But at the age of 14, it is very difficult to cope with and process the permanent loss of somebody that you love. And so every time I think about this case and I think about Celeste, I think about all of her little friends. That is a heartbreaking thing that they're all going through. And I felt the same way about like Madeline Soto's little friends. Oh my goodness. And I think something that Robin said in the comment is right. Oftentimes we will put up a facade, but inside we're a tempest, right? We put up this facade of calm, of control, but inside we're a tempest, we're a hurricane. We don't know how to deal with these emotions. And I know from experience, so I guess I should say I believe through my own experience that all of her little family members, all of her school friends, neighborhood friends, they're all dying inside because of this. So we got to be very, very careful. Having said that, I think that this is an important component of the case. I think that Celeste was likely pregnant. That will go to motive. Now, will they be able to tell one that she was pregnant? Will they be able to prove that to a jury? Number one, can they prove to a jury that Celeste was pregnant? If they can they prove to a jury through forensic evidence who the father is? And I think that becomes way more difficult. However, the 2.5, right? We'll do it like this. 2.5 is all of the conversations that prosecutors say that they had, right? Let's bring up where they paused it here. Say that they had about pregnancy, abortion, Plan B, things like that. So will they be able to prove, maybe not beyond a reasonable doubt, but they'll be able to plant a seed strong enough that it will grow in the minds of jurors that yes, indeed, she was pregnant and D4vd was the father. I think that's what prosecutors plan on doing with bits and pieces of their 40 terabytes of evidence against this guy. Yeah, that's what I think. What do you think? Let's bring Celeste back up here. Let's see what you guys are thinking over here. Got to refresh my screen. See how many comments there are here. Clarinet Girl says, this is the same bathroom where D4vd is talking about him using the bathroom and he says it's still smelly. Yeah. Autumn did give me that video and I have seen that. So yeah, it's definitely his house. Thanks for confirming that for me. Kay Bling says, I heard there's no way to tell if she was pregnant, but she could have been. I wonder how far along might she have been, right? And even in that decomposition fluid, the soup and again, I'm sorry, but was there forensic evidence? I think if there were remains that could be identified as a child, that it never would have been marked as no, that she was not pregnant on her birth certificate. Just reasoning this out, right? So yeah, cabling. I like this comment. It makes me think. So will the prosecution, I guess, will they lean on the communication as part of their proof? Let's see. Let me keep on going down. Debbie saying, won't all their electronics, phones and such be taken into custody, and all the text messages between them will count in court? Yeah. And they have all of it. Like, I don't know how they got into it. Well, the iCloud part is a little bit easier, but his phone must have been unlocked. iPhone security is actually pretty darn impressive. I can't imagine that they were able to break in such a short amount of time. So he must have had it unlocked. It's crazy. I mean, it's like Stephen Stearns, that idiot just was like, here, yeah, you can look at my phone, right? So maybe D4vd was like that. Renee says, I'm wondering why the prosecution, could release that Celeste was pregnant, but in the case of Madeline Soto, he kept it quiet, saying it was because she was a minor. Any thoughts? That's a good question. I mean, it might possibly be that, well, the prosecution did something weird here. They filed a public filing with the court saying, hey, this is what we intend to prove in the preliminary hearing. I can't think of the last time that happened. I've never seen it in my reporting. If I have, I don't remember it. So I'm not sure why the prosecution did that. It might just be personal preference, where the, in Stephen Stearns' case, those prosecutors were like, let's just keep Madeline's dignity intact. And in this case, they're like, let's go after this SOB who took advantage of this girl and SA'd her for over, it might just be a personal preference. I don't know. Because I don't think that, well, and also, I don't think that we know that Madeline was pregnant. I'm trying to remember. Maddie, I'm trying to remember. Somebody help me out on that. Let's see. Cabling, correct. Her emotions were over the top for many reasons. Pregnancy and his having other affairs. This was too much for this child. And it would have been too much for a grown woman, right? Italia says she may have thought she was pregnant and told him she was via text. She actually may not have been, though. If he believed it, it's still motive enough. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, great point. Let's see. And Barb Olson also repeats, Celeste might have texted D4vd that she was pregnant. So yeah. And if he thought it, the difference between if he thought it was true and it was true, that is not a wide chasm. They're so close. I think a jury would go, I see what's going on here. Kelly says, David thought she was way too clingy and a real problem for him, a threat. Yeah, and that is what the prosecution is saying, right? That she was threatening his career, his future earnings. And she had to go, and that's why he was lying in wait. That's why he stabbed her to death. Autumn Doyle, Maddie was not pregnant. I was trying to remember if there was was she talking about it, though? Or was it possible that Jen thought that she was pregnant or something? I can't remember those details. But thanks, Autumn. I appreciate it. Clarinet Girl says, Is it possible he drove her to Santa Barbara to bury her, bought the shovel, then panicked and changed his mind, therefore the Tesla? I think that's not only possible, I think it's probable. Listen, I have worked, as my grandfather would say, on the handle end of a shovel. When I was a young man, so I was 18, 19 years old, I worked for a company in Sacramento. Wow, Gavin, this is a bit of a tangent. We got to get this. Yeah, I mean, it's a tangent. It's tangentially connected. When I was a young man, 18, 19 years old, oh my goodness, do I have like hair falling out? Is it? I do. Guys, this hair has got to go. I worked for a company in Sacramento called Filner Construction, and Filner specialized in building gas stations. And as the young general laborer, I was the guy that did all the crap work, all the stuff that everybody else had done at one point too, but now it was my turn. And when we would big excavators and so forth, backhoes would do most of the work, but then there was me in the trenches or in the holes doing the work of clearing holes. So I know my way around a shovel is all I'm saying. Okay. Most people don't realize digging a hole that is big enough for a body and deep enough for it to be to contain the body is hard work, and it takes a long, long time. You look in the movies, they're like, okay, well, we better dig a grave. And before you know it, they're lowering that poor soul into the grave. That is not the way it is in real life. It is hard work. Hard work. So, yeah, I think not only is it possible that he went up to Santa Barbara, I think it's probable that he went up there to dig a grave and put her in it and was like, I can't, this is going to take me 3 nights of work. I will just bury her passport card, her ID, and I'll get rid of it that way. And then we'll figure something else out. I think that's probably what happened. Renee says, I'm sorry, I should have worded that better. I meant that they were more guarded with Madeline's info in general because she was a minor. Guess if this goes to trial, they'd need to make it. Yeah. Stephen Stearns waived his right to a preliminary hearing, if I remember correctly, and then he pleaded guilty. So none of that stuff happened. But had it gone to trial, we would have found out all those gory details, especially in Florida. But I still think it's probably just personal preference. Also, they're different states. They're going to have different laws. Thank you, Renee. Let's see. Oh, that's right. They did find pregnancy tests in her bathroom with Madeline. That's right. You're right. And Stefan was searching online for a parent coin. Oh, I remember that too. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yep. Thanks, Grogu. And then Cabling says she was threatening him for a reason, either pregnancy or jealousy. Either way, a motive for him getting rid of her. Yeah, and keep in mind, I mean, we have to remember this is a 14-year-old child, right? She did like it would be completely understandable for a grown person to have feelings of envy and jealousy and rage and want to take their pound of flesh, but multiply that by just being a child and not really having the experience to understand these emotions. I think that goes to motive for sure. I think you're right, Cabling. Thank you very much for that comment. Clarinet Girl says that shovel work is hard, especially for a small man like D4vd's. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not a big guy, and you're right. It's hard work. It's really, really hard work. So was Celeste pregnant? I think probably, or at least she felt that she thought she was. And that goes to motive. And did everybody know what was going on? That were there multiple people that were like, yeah, I know that David killed Celeste? I think probably that is true as well. And I mean, remember the whole metaphor. David is a shark swimming in an ocean, chomping at delicious, delicious victuals, and as he's eating it, there's just meat and carnage spewing out of his mouth, and then there are millions of little scavenger fish swimming around, eating up all the leftovers, and that is the life of a rock star, man. And that's what all these people are doing. They're live streaming from his house. They're hanging out with him. They're absorbing coolness by osmosis, right? They're feeling they're and they're just chomping up all of the leftovers from this rising star, and that goes to incentive for them to shut the mouth, right? Callarse la boca. Don't say anything, because if he fails, if he falls, we all fall. And everybody has that motive. Now, do I think that? Yeah, I do. I think that Nancy Grace's team had that subtitled correctly. I think somebody said, yeah, me and David killed him. I think somebody did. And I think that somebody talented enough to unecho and to isolate. It's not exactly like the way it is in the movies, but I think that somebody with real talent could probably isolate that and make it so that it's a little bit more understandable. I think that there are going to be so many witnesses to this. I think Neil Langston's one of them. I think I think all of them, all those voices we heard, will be witnesses, either for the prosecution or the defense, or they will invoke the Fifth. I think there will be a lot of invocation of rights guaranteed by the Fifth Amendment. I really do. And that is what we have for this case. But fear not, my friends. We are not. Despair not. Despair not. We still have another 3 gallons of content to put into this show. And why don't we move on to 3 questions?
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
How, guys, in this segment, I answer 3 questions that are sent in by you to me to this email address, which you see on the screen. 3 questions at gavinfish.com. 3 questions at gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE questions at gavinfish.com. You know what I've noticed? I bet you've noticed too. I tend to get questions from the same people, and I think that's terrific. But if you have a question about the mysteries of the universe, or about me, or about whatever, case, whatever, and you want my opinion or my answer to it, please send it into 3 questions at gavinfish.com. You can send them 1 at a time. You can send them 1,000 at a time. I just take them and I put them into a spreadsheet, and then I look at the spreadsheet and go, these are the ones that I want to answer today. And I will answer them all honestly and completely. Let's see. Question number 1 comes from CM Warren 58. I prepared for this one, y'all. The question is, what was your favorite Christmas present as a child? Well, guys, this is not a question that I made up. This just came in, okay? And I was just back in Sacramento, where I discovered in my parents' attic, in the rafters in the garage, a few more boxes of mine. I thought I had cleared out everything. I had not. There were still a couple boxes in there. So I opened a box and I beheld one of my favorite Christmas presents. Now, maybe my favorite Christmas present of all time was my first CD player. I got an NEC CD player. But in the winter of 1984, when the nation was frenzied, I say, in the what was his name? In the world of Xavier Roberts, everybody wanted a Cabbage Patch Kid. I think they had actually hit the market in 83, but they reached their crescendo in 84. And I am the 4th of 5 children. In 1984, I was 9 years old. And that would have made my oldest sister 16 years old. I would have had a 14-year-old brother, a 12-year-old brother, and then a 5-year-old little sister. Okay. And we were all given by that jolly old elf, St. Nicholas, each one of us, a Cabbage Patch Kid. And this was mine. This was my little Cabbage Patch Kid. Now, I found this. Let me bring this up here so you guys can see him a little bit better. I can't remember his name. He has a name, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, I found this in a box in my parents' attic, and I brought him home and gave him to our youngest daughter. So for that question, at the time, I was over the moon for this guy. Over the moon. Does his zipper still work? Let's see. Oh yeah, he's still got his Cabbage Patch Kids little onesie T-shirt on under there. He's got his diaper on still. He's an original 1984, not one of the 1970s before. What was it? Coleco or whatever licensed it. He's not a soft face. He is one of the hard faced ones. But that is probably, at the time, definitely my favorite Christmas present of all time. Me old Cabbage Patch Kid, and now our daughter gets to play with him. Thank you for that question. I want to know what your favorite Christmas present of all time was. That was pretty fun that you asked that. Anonymous asks, when solving true crime cases, what resources are most needed? Really, it depends on the case. Oftentimes, I need somebody to take it seriously. I need the police. I need an investigator. I need the FBI. I need a prosecutor's office to take this seriously. There are way too many families that are just fighting against that. The Greenbergs, the Winkowskis, the Elmquists, right? Take this seriously. My child was murdered. Oftentimes, these families don't fight because they run out of money. They can't fight. Oftentimes, these families will mortgage their homes with second mortgages. Sometimes they will lose their homes in the fight to get justice for their family. So when you come across a family like the Winkowskis, the Greenbergs, the Elmquists, one of the things they might ask for is money. Money to pay for a private investigator, money to pay for a publisher, money to pay for billboards or something to get somebody's attention. As long as they are a legitimate family in need, I hope that we all will help. That's now. Also, there are people like Tom Brennan, for example, a man with over 800 murder investigations under his belt, who will do it pro bono. So we need more Tom Brennans of the world. We need more of those. Thanks for that question. And question number 3 tonight from Kelly. Gavin, are you a thoughtful gift giver? Kelly, when I answer this, I want you to believe me, okay? You got to believe this. I am the world's worst giver of gifts. I suck at it. I just don't pay close enough attention. On my birthday, which was the big 50, which I wasn't happy about. I really had a hard time turning 50. I went back to California, and as part of my search for happiness in the wake of turning 50, I got back in touch with an old friend, and I happened to be there on my birthday, and I said, let's go out to dinner. We go out to dinner. That dude we hadn't seen each other in 2 decades, maybe 2.5 decades. And he first he remembered it was my birthday, right? He remembered. And I was like, please don't make a big deal out of it. I'm having a hard time. Let's just not do the birthday thing, right? So, true to form, he was awesome about it. He's like, yeah, I got you, Gavin. Don't worry about it. But then he brought two of my favorite edible things in the world. The first being the humble Rice Krispie treat, which I love. And second being lemon squares, which I love. And he had remembered from the time we were like 16, 17 years old, Gavin loves Rice Krispies, Gavin loves lemon squares, and he just brought them as like, I know that you said no gifts. This isn't really a gift. Here, I thought of you. So freaking thoughtful, right? No, I'm a terrible gift giver. I will tell you what I'm good at, though. I'm good at expressing my actual heartfelt affection for somebody. I do it verbally. I do it with eye contact, and I was taught well by my parents. But I'm not a good gift giver. If you have any like tips on how to improve, Javi, you're gonna have to edit that out. I hope you don't mind. Thank you. My ability to give gifts, is there some kind of tool? Like if somebody says something, like, oh, I should jot that down. She likes this, he likes this. I could have a list. I don't know if you have any suggestions on how I could improve that about myself, because I'm so bad at it. Like if you asked me right now, what my wife, the most important person in my life, wants right now as a gift for her, for our anniversary, for her birthday, for just because I love her so much, I cannot answer that question for you. She's the most important person in my life. I have no idea. And in typical fashion, when our kids have special days, their birthdays, we have Keister days for a couple of our kids. We have one child who has an anniversary. I will go to Kimberly and go, what are we going to get the kids for their anniversary? And she's like, it's already done. It's in the mail. It's already there. Good. I married a thoughtful and terrific woman. I just don't have that. I don't have that in me. So if you have any thoughts on what I can do to improve that about myself, please put them in the comments. And while you guys are working, please put GF in your comments, anything that you want me to see. While you're working on that, let's move on to headlines, shall we?
True crime headlines.
Hey, and before we really hop into headlines, let me just do one last reminder that for today, that you can go to fanofthem.com/GavinFish, buy some cool merch, like a collectible, a limited edition digital download, and it will automatically enter you into a giveaway to win this iconic and like, if I might say, I kind of lust after this thing, Omega Speedmaster. It's about a $5,000 watch, and by doing so, you support my channel. And I've just been trying to come up with a way to be able to give back to people who are supporting me so generously. And I thought, a giveaway. This is something that we could do. So go over to fanofthem.com/GavinFish, or click the link in the description below. Purchase that limited edition collectible or digital download and enter to win this Omega Speedmaster. It's going to look good on your wrist. Look at that tachometer. Oh, look, just look at it. Chronograph. It's just beautiful. Anyway, okay. Headlines. Do you remember that yesterday we talked a little bit about which it was a Kardashian that weighed in on the Nancy Guthrie case, and I was like, you know what? We're going to talk about it because it keeps the case top of mind, keeps it in front of people. Well, we're continuing that. All right, we're going to continue. Wrong button, Gavin. We're going over here. Reported in yahoo.com by Sengupta Srimanti, Sheriff Chris Nanos verifies he's keeping secrets in Nancy Guthrie case after Khloe Kardashian clocks weird investigation. I know, that was painful to hear. It wasn't nearly as painful to hear as it was for me to speak aloud, but let's read a couple paragraphs, shall we? Reality star Khloe Kardashian said that the Nancy Guthrie investigation is weird, indirectly raising doubts about Sheriff Chris Nanos' handling of the disappearance of NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie's mother. Kardashian appeared on an episode of Khloe in Wonderland. I think I just died a little bit reading. Okay, keep going, Gavin. And said that the dearth of information was mind-blowing. Kardashian reportedly said that Guthrie's case was heartbreaking, adding, I don't know, I'm just like, this is 2026. There's nothing that is mind-blowing. Kardashian claims to be obsessed with the case when she finds vital, unknown details. According to OK Magazine, Nanos has confirmed that their team is deliberately keeping secrets from the public in the case. Well, duh. When asked about the alleged secrets, Nanos said, yes, absolutely there are. But it's not done because we got to keep a secret. It's done because we got to protect our case. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I died too much inside, and I've worked so hard over the last 8.5 months to get more healthy. I don't want years taken off my life by reading this. But Nancy Guthrie. We got to keep that one top of mind. Okay, turning to the Alex Murdaugh case. Murdaugh's lawyers to introduce shocking DNA findings that could upend murder cases at retrial, according to Georgia Worrell, NewYorkPost.com. Alex Murdaugh's lawyers revealed the new evidence they'll introduce at retrial to argue the disgraced legal scion's innocence in his wife and son's murders, including never-before-heard DNA findings. Quote, there was DNA under Maggie's fingernails, male DNA, that was not DNA of Alex or any other family members, Murdaugh's lead attorney Jim Griffin told News Nation anchor Chris Cuomo on Thursday, one day after the South Carolina Supreme Court shockingly overturned Murdaugh's double murder conviction. They were never put into CODIS, Griffin said, referring to a database utilized by law enforcement to compare DNA profiles that has never been followed up on. Murdaugh, 57, had been serving 2 consecutive life sentences. Take 2, Javi. 2 consecutive life sentences without parole for the grisly executions of his wife Maggie and their 22-year-old son Paul after a jury unanimously found him guilty of the slayings following a dramatic 6-week trial in 2023. And then, as we read in the decision yesterday, because of Ms. what was her name? Rebecca Hill. This woman right here. I do solemnly swear to tell the truth. If I am not, otherwise I shall be clutching the pearls that I be wearing. Yeah, she tipped the scales. She has pleaded guilty to several things. And now we have to go through another Murdaugh trial. Rebecca, you dirty rat. Okay. From News for San Antonio, no trial date set in Brad Simpson murder case amid sensitive evidence review. Written by Christopher Hoffman, Dateline San Antonio. Javi, you're going to have to earn your keep on this one. Sorry, buddy. A judge declined to set a trial date Thursday in the murder case against Brad Simpson, citing an ongoing review of sensitive evidence connected to the investigation into the disappearance and presumed death of his wife, Suzanne Simpson. Uh-oh, guys. Dang it. Didn't do it in time. I got the yawns. Anyway. Suzanne Simpson's body still hasn't been found. During a status hearing, Judge Joel Perez said no trial date can be scheduled at this time because 81st District Judge Lynn Ellison is still conducting an in-camera review of a large amount of sensitive case material. An in-camera review is a private examination of confidential or sensitive evidence by a judge outside the presence of the public and jury. The The process is used to determine whether certain materials should be released to prosecutors or the defense. So no trial date yet for Mr. Simpson. And then turning to Luigi Mangione. Prosecutors say his defense team's juror questions are too intrusive in federal case. This written by Adam Sabes and Maria Peronich on FoxNews.com. Prosecutors in Louisiana... Gavin, slow down, Gavin. Slow down. Javi, gonna work hard, buddy. Prosecutors in the Luigi Mangione case are arguing that his defense team's plan to dig into jurors' private lives is too intrusive. In court documents filed Monday, federal prosecutors responded to questions to jurors proposed by Mangione's defense team, which haven't yet been made public. Deputy U.S. Attorney Sean Buckley wrote that some of the questions are unnecessarily intrusive. Mangione, of course, is accused of assassinating United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. In his filing, Buckley argued that a question proposed by Mangione's team asking jurors about some aspects of their personal lives goes too far. Quote, disputed question 14A, which asked jurors to list, among other personal details, the ages, genders, occupations, and education histories of their children, is unnecessarily intrusive, he wrote. Another question disputed by federal prosecutors asks potential jurors how often they attend religious services. This question is inappropriate because a juror's religious practices have no bearing on the juror's fitness to serve, Buckley wrote. So they continue to fight over there. Now, that's it for the crime news, okay? And Wanda, I know that you didn't have time to write a jingle, though you are a talent, and I don't know why it would take you any time at all. But if you could give us maybe some transition music to go into good news, can you do that for us? It's nice, Wanda. Getting all the, I'm shedding all the bad vibes, shedding them away, so that we can read this piece of good news. Thank you, Wanda. This piece of good news brought to you by Good News Network, written by Andy Corbley. With mills shuttered, grassroots effort hopes to give Welsh Valley new purpose with gorgeous 83-mile hiking trail. Guys, I love this so much. Do you want to know why? Because there are hiking trails all over Great Britain, all over the United Kingdom, where you can just walk. You can walk all the way around the island. I have availed myself of walking on said trail multiple times, once with my son, and it was amazing. And I also happen to live in an area that is economically depressed because the oil industry left. So what do? Well, in Wales, they are looking to hiking trails. A new 3-day hiking trail is breathing life and money back into an historic valley in the Welsh countryside. Famous for its valleys and its countryside, Wales is no stranger to hiking routes. The region has a robust, rambling community and an existing famous trail that traces the Welsh coastline. Now, meandering along the Taffy River, the Taffy Valley Trail allows hikers to experience 850 years of history, from the days of monastic hermitages to the industrial mill towns of the 19th century. Quote, one of the main reasons for the trail is to get people with backpacks and boots down here to spend money, trail organizer James Williams told The Guardian, whose correspondent walked the trail recently. Quote, we've seen the economic effect the coastal paths have. We thought we could have a bit of that as well. The coastal paths are amazing. The Taffy River used to be a substantial economic artery through the Welsh nation. It was crucial for materials transportation and a robust fishing industry, while the surrounding countryside was the heart of Welsh wool production. Anyway, they've built a trail 85 miles long. For those of you who are in the United Kingdom, maybe go down there. Maybe walk that area and see some amazing things. The last time I was on the coastal trail in Great Britain, it was in the south. and I was walking along with my son, and we came across a church that had been in continuous use since 1100. And I just thought that, as an American, that is so freaking old. And I loved it so much to share that time walking the coastal path with my son. So that made me feel happy. And those guys, what are they? They're your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Alrighty, let's finish out our day with some of your comments. Let's see. It's refreshed. I think I'm going to miss some of them. Mooney says, talking about her favorite Christmas gift. Mine was a snow cone maker. I was in the hospital really sick and Santa came. I was so surprised he found me in the hospital. I was 4 or 5. Well, Santa is magical old elf. That's awesome. Yes, I have not checked, but this is true. There is a little Xavier Roberts signature on the bottom. Yes, indeed. What else have you got? Kelly's trying to. Kelly, you're trying to break the rules. Got to send the question in. Debbie says, is Tom the private investigator helping the Greenbergs free of charge all these years? Yes, he is. Tom Brennan is the best. Glitter is Forever says, Gavin, I call BS. I would believe you to be a great gift giver because you are empathetic, observant, and thoughtful, a sentimentalist, or a connector, gaining joy from making others feel seen and special. Yeah, I just don't know how to do it through gifting. I can do it through language, but I don't know how to do it through gifting. You can call BS all you want. The truth remains true. K Bling says, haha, Gavin, gift givers are usually women. Women tune into what people want. Sorry, but it's true. That's amazing for a guy. Yeah, Matt's the best. Kelly trying to get me to answer a question during 3 questions. Gotta send it in. Frida says, I'm a good gift giver as long as it's not under the pressure of a holiday. Let's start over. I'm a good gift giver as long as it's not under the pressure of a holiday, i.e., I should just save the gift until it's time. Clarinet Girl says, one Christmas in my toys was one of the really, really good metal slinkies. This was in the 1960s. I played with it up and down our front steps for hours and hours. Oh yeah, the metal ones. Ah, classic. Good stuff. Robin says, I feel like the white-gloved hand holding the watch has a British accent. Well, I mean, Omega is a British company. No, it's not Swiss. It's a Swiss company. It's just, I always, let's bring it up here. Anytime I think Omega, I think James Bond. Look at that. Just look at that. That is glorious. Okay, Just Ducky. Do we get peanut butter with that fluff? Thank you very much, Ducky, for the super chat. Appreciate that. Debbie, gift cards to your wife, favorite place, or prepaid Visa card for anywhere, or just ask her what she wants from you. Easy peasy. I feel like part of being a good gift giver is being a guy or a person who can just sense it. And for my wife, it doesn't work. Money, gift cards does not work. That doesn't work. But thank you. Diane Ferris, could your hair be falling out due to the change in your diet? My hair is falling out everywhere. My diet is healthy, and I am taking supplements for my hair. And I've been looking at pictures from like 10 years ago. My hairline is the same from back then. I don't think I'm losing hair. I'm just like, it's just... Hey, wait a minute. Diane, did you get in a question? You got in a question during 3 questions. I can't believe I fell for it. Thank you for saying Alex, not Alec Murdaugh. Nobody on TV says it right. Please take note. This is not an endorsement for the man. Thank you, Clarinet Girl. Kelly Alexander, mine was the Kissy doll. Very, very popular in the early 60s. Oh, now Debbie's hopping in. Have I ever regifted a gift? I will not answer that unless it is emailed to 3questions@gavinfish.com. Guys, this has been a great week. Thank you so much for joining me on YouTube, on Spotify. Hey, if you are in the Rewatch crew and you have a Spotify membership, please go watch over there. It is a free and easy way to help the channel. The channel has been growing. I think I surpassed the 800 subscribers mark over on Spotify, which doesn't sound like much, but I love it. I love that it is growing. All I do is at the end of this here live stream on YouTube, I upload it to Spotify. And I deeply, deeply appreciate those who watch over there. I'm working on coming up with ideas for giving more value to those of you who are members of the channel and also are on Patreon. I think I'm going to do a weekly after show. I think that's probably going to be on Tuesdays. So tell me what you think in the comments about that, about doing an after show for my patrons and my members. I think that's what I'm going to do. And but I want your input on that. Yeah, just trying to, I don't know. It's the same thing with the giveaway. You guys are so awesome. I want to do something where I can somehow give back. So thank you. Thank you for making it a great week. I hope you have a terrific weekend. My weekend is going to be doing some photography stuff, which I'm so excited for. And then we will be back on Monday at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Then it'll be uploaded to Spotify, Facebook, and it'll be everywhere. So wherever you watch or listen to it, thank you very much. And until Monday, I bid you adieu. And I hope to see you then. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.